Let's get straight to it. Chapter 5 was supposed to be the end of Poppy Playtime. Not a cliffhanger, not a setup, not a bridge to another chapter. The end. And we didn't learn that from a leak or a rumor or some random Twitter theory. We learned it directly from Isaac, the original director behind the first 3 chapters. And the moment he confirmed it, everything changed. Because if Chapter 5 was meant to finish the story, why are we still going? Over the past week, Isaac held a Q&A answering fan questions about Chapter 5. At first, it seemed harmless. Then, someone asked the question that detonated the community. Did they use your original story outline? Isaac answered, "The original story ended in Chapter 5, but I'm not sure how long it will go now." That single sentence did more damage to the community than any trailer, leak, or drama ever could. Because suddenly, fans weren't debating mechanics. They weren't debating Lily. They weren't debating puzzles. They were debating motive. Was the story extended for creative reasons or commercial ones? Now, to be fair, Isaac didn't accuse anyone. In fact, he said something important. When someone hands you a story, it's hard to execute that vision without them. It makes sense to bring in new people with fresh ideas. And he's right. Game development is collaborative. Stories evolve, plans change. But that doesn't stop fans from asking, if Chapter 5 was meant to conclude everything, what changed? Here's where things get even more interesting. Isaac confirmed that Chapter 4 mostly followed his outline, but Chapter 5? That's where the direction shifted. And suddenly, a lot of things make more sense. The extended pacing, the added mechanics, the expanded areas, the unresolved mysteries. It doesn't feel like an ending, because originally it wasn't supposed to continue. And if you've been online recently, you've probably seen the reaction. Some fans welcomed the news. More story, more lore, more chapters. Others weren't so happy. Tweets started circulating claiming the franchise is being stretched. Comments flooded in saying the story could have ended with a powerful conclusion. One user wrote, "Extending the story feels like milking it." Another said, "It should have ended at 5." And this is where things get complicated, because success changes everything. Chapter 5 didn't just release, it exploded. Over 100,000 copies sold in the first few hours, over 50,000 concurrent players on Steam. That's more than every previous chapter peak combined. That level of success doesn't just reward a studio, it expands the audience, it raises expectations, and it makes ending the story much harder. But the Q&A didn't stop there. Isaac also revealed that the prototype was originally very different. Instead of the sleek mechanical design we see now, he was envisioned as something more grotesque, a jester-like head, scrap metal body, human parts, toy remains, even the heads of fallen characters, and multiple grab packs on his back to lift himself and chase the player. That version sounds less engineered and more monstrous, less calculated and more chaotic, which tells us something important. The prototype's final design wasn't just aesthetic, it reflects a shift in direction, from horror rooted in decay to horror rooted in precision and control. Then came another revelation. Several Chapter 5 characters weren't part of the original plan. Chum, Giblet, the Outimals, all new additions. Lily had early concept art but wasn't part of the outline, which explains why some players felt certain sections expanded the experience without pushing the main story forward. That doesn't mean they're bad, it means they weren't part of the original structure. But the biggest question still remained. If the story changed, where is it heading now? But the biggest question still remained. If the story changed, where is it heading now? Developers have given us small clues. A team member explained they have a long-term vision for the story's emotional destination, but they keep the roadmap flexible so the world can grow with the community. In simple terms, they know where it ends, but they aren't locking the path. And that flexibility is exciting and terrifying because it means anything is possible. The CEO also addressed the drama directly. He said it's interesting to see what connected with players and what didn't. Some praised the animation, others mocked it. Some loved the game, others hated it. And he pointed out something worth noting. An 85% positive rating is still very strong, but he also added he won't rest until it reaches overwhelmingly positive. That's not defensiveness, that's ambition. Meanwhile, updates behind the scenes suggest the future may lean deeper into horror. A recent job listing from the studio specifically requested developers with experience in psychological horror, tension pacing, player vulnerability, systemic scare design, and experience with games like Alien Isolation, Soma, and Dead Space. That's not subtle. That's a direction. And then there's Chapter 6. Is it the finale? We don't know. Some fans think the new prototype merchandise featuring numbers 1 through 6 hints at a final chapter. Others say it's just the Playtime Co. logo turned sideways. Maybe it's a coincidence. Maybe it's not. What we do know is this. Chapter 5 was originally the ending. The story changed, the direction evolved, and now the future of Poppy Playtime is no longer predictable. But here's the real question. Would the original ending have been better? Isaac described it as bittersweet, not happy, not tragic, something emotional, something heavy, the kind of ending that stays with you. Now we may never see that version, or pieces of it may still surface. Isaac even hinted that some of his ideas might still appear in Chapter 6, but he isn't expecting them to. And maybe that uncertainty is the point, because Poppy Playtime has always been about control being an illusion, experiments escaping design, systems breaking structure, plans falling apart. So maybe it's fitting that the story itself evolved beyond its original ending. But I want to hear from you. Should the story have ended at Chapter 5, or are you glad it's continuing? And what worries you more? That the ending changed, or that we might never know what it was? Let me know below. And if you want more breakdowns like this as Chapter 6 develops, subscribe. Because whatever comes next, it's not the story we expected. And that might make it even more interesting.